everybody, welcome to Game Day View presented by Caesars Sportsbook. Patrick Claybon, glad to be back with Greg Rosenthal and Cynthia Freeland. And we got a divisional round to look forward to, guys.
We do. I missed you guys last week, and this is the best weekend of football of the year.
I mean, I think both last week and this week are the two best in a row. So, I don't know. We're lucky all around here.
Well, she's just in a great mood since you know what happened.
Well, yeah, we'll get.
Since I know what happened?
We'll get Cynthia's crown.
My blue. I was like, my blue nails?
A little bit in the show, but we are spending the next 28 minutes and change running through matchups in the AFC. Let's look at these divisional round schedules, starting off with an AFC matchup, a rematch earlier in this season. The Houston Texans against the Chiefs, and then the Commanders and the Lions on Saturday, wrapping up with the Rams and the Eagles and the Ravens-Bills on Sunday. But we need to take a look back at the last time the Houston Texans played the Kansas City Chiefs just a few weeks ago. Patrick Mahomes coming off an ankle injury. It was a high ankle sprain that came a week previously. So how did he test that ankle? By piling into the end zone with Texans on his back. 15-yard rushing touchdown. Chiefs led 7-0. That's the second longest rushing touchdown of his career.
That was the most rushing yards he's ever had in the first quarter of a game. And that could be big in this game because the Texans have struggled against scrambling quarterbacks.
Yeah, he had 33 rushing yards and that touchdown to finish the game. Third quarter now, Texans trail 17-10. 2nd and 7 from the Chiefs 30. Biggest play of the game, maybe one of the biggest plays of the season for the Texans. Stroud, 30-yard touchdown to Tank Dell. The problem is Tank Dell holds onto that ball despite tearing his ACL and also having a dislocated kneecap. He was out for the season. Of course, C.J. Stroud, one of Tank Dell's close friends, he'd overcome so much. Had a gunshot wound in the offseason. Jared Wayne just got elevated from the practice squad. He had to be consoled as well because it was him that ran into Tank Dell's knee. A rough loss for the Texans, really a different game after that point because Stroud clearly emotional on the sideline. Later in the third, Chiefs leading 17-16. Mahomes finds Xavier Worthy, 8-yard touchdown. They led 24-16, go on to win 27-19. But the Texans would earn their way back, so it's time for home field advantage, presented by Zillow. The Chiefs and Texans meeting up again Saturday. Kansas City hasn't lost at home since Christmas of 2023. Does that win streak continue, Cynthia?
It sure does, but only by 6 points. I have 26-20 in this matchup. Why? Because when I look at the opportunity for Patrick Mahomes to be special, there is some rust, and I need to figure out if the O-line is going to hold up in this one. One of the rest versus rust arguments that I think is most compelling is how will this affect pressure for Patrick Mahomes? Figuring out that rotation, and Andy Reid in his most recent press conference was talking about they're rotating in practice between DJ Humphries, Joe Thuney. What's going on at left tackle, my friend? Well, if you're going to force Patrick Mahomes to run like this a lot, it's going to be more difficult. If you're going to force him to throw under duress, it's going to be more difficult. So I think the actual benefit here for them having 3 weeks plus off will be to figure out how that O-line gets just a smidge better.
I also have the Texans beating the number, but I've got the Kansas City Chiefs winning this game by 4, 24-20. And I don't think it's because it's of rust. I have a case to make in opposition to rust because Patrick Mahomes has played 61 games since January of 2022. It's just now 2025. We remember that. Rest is good for you. And I love football. It's provided a whole lot for my life, including a lot of things that I care about deeply. It's not good for you. The Texans were in that Week 16 game, but then the pressure started. Spags blitzed on 44% of C.J. Stroud's dropbacks. They had a 56% pressure rate in the second half, and Houston really had no answers then. I'm not going to count on them, Greg, to have these answers now. I think the Chiefs survive in advance.
Yeah, it is such a big number, and it makes sense. It's a team going for their third straight title, and you guys both have the Texans covering the number. I'll reach you on that, and I'll raise you a Texans win. Let's go. Texans pull off the upset. We're just Gregging it up. We're not worried. It's about that Texans defense where DeMeco Ryans really got out-coached in that first matchup. I actually think it's an advantage that they just played him. They went into Arrowhead. They played him even really for 3 quarters until that Tank Dell injury, but Andy Reid was one step ahead of DeMeco Ryans in that defense. And that defense, to me, was better than the Chiefs' offense throughout the course of the season. You're watching Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter go nuts on what happened last week. Also, at cornerback, Derek Stingley and Kamari Lassiter top 2 cornerbacks in the league in terms of opposing completion percentage. I do believe this defense is special. It's going to take something special to beat the Chiefs, and that's what the Texans are going to do.
Let's get it. We got to just take it against the Chiefs. I love it. You can catch this game on NFL Plus, folks. Postseason with NFL Plus. It's a great opportunity. Stream the entire postseason, including every playoff game and Super Bowl 59 live on mobile. Subscription required for NFL Plus. Visit plus.nfl.com in order to see the terms. Time to make it binary. Let's go this guy or that guy. Who is more likely to throw for 2 touchdowns, Cynthia? C.J. Stroud or Patrick Mahomes?
Patrick Mahomes. I think, number one, this defense is now in full force for the Chiefs, so that's going to make things more difficult. And number 2, a short pass that it goes for a yak. That actually works out, too. That counts as a passing touchdown for the quarterback. While I want to point out that Travis Kelce has 13 touchdowns in 13 playoff appearances. I like that a lot. I think that it could also be a game where, I don't know, Noah Gray potentially sees the end zone, or perhaps a Kareem Hunt, get it going on, buddy, in this game type of situation. So I think at least 1.5, so 2 or more passing touchdowns. Patrick Mahomes. The
thing that also counts is that overhand, underhand shovel pass that the Chiefs run
it's a throw.
all the time. Also catches, they count. Travis Kelce, typically a beast in the playoffs. Who do you think he's going to have over 5.5 more catches? Who's more likely, him or Nico Collins, Greg?
Well, I'm a rule follower. If you give me a question, I'm going to answer it directly. More likely is Nico Collins. I think they both get over 5.5. But Nico Collins is in the prime of his career. Travis Kelce's on the back end against a defense that is typically very good up the middle. Nico Collins can win anywhere. You saw him on those in-breakers a week ago against the Chargers, but he's just as good winning one-on-one on the outside, where I think he'll have some mismatches against a Chiefs group undersized. And Nico Collins, he can rack up a lot of receptions, and this isn't about yards, but he can get yards after the catch too.
If you're looking at what happens on crucial downs, so like 3rd and 4th, and those in-breakers to Nico Collins, that is a good matchup. I think in-breakers were what changed the game last week, and that could be another area to look for in this one. It's about getting and keeping C.J. Stroud in rhythm, and it's all about the yak. So get C.J. To get it to Nico Collins in space, and I think I like that. I like that a lot.
Space is the final frontier, and it's a big part of why I'm taking this last one. Joe Mixon or Xavier Worthy, over 70 scrimmage yards. I think Joe Mixon is more likely. I just discussed how much Steve Spagnuolo might blitz C.J. Stroud in this game. I think it's a great opportunity to get Joe Mixon involved in the passing game, especially the quick passing game. Give the Kansas City defense something else to look at. I know that we saw PFF Bobby have a lot of first down runs against the Chargers, much to the chagrin of users on social media like myself, but I think Joe Mixon is involved in this game, not just in the traditional run sense. Folks, we're just getting started here on Game Day View. Coming up, we got a dream playoff matchup. Lamar Jackson versus Josh Allen. Well, both of those guys playing the other team's defense. 2 MVP candidates going head-to-head against opposing defenses. Which superstar is ready to carry his team to the next round? We'll tell you right after the break.
NFL Game Day View is brought to you by Caesars Sportsbook. New users can bet $1 to boost their next 10 bets by 100%. Must be 21 or older. See Caesars.com/promos for full terms.
And Lamar Jackson does it again.
It's unfair. These are the best athletes in the world that he makes them look like they should not be out there with him.
If you think about the MVP, that's Lamar Jackson.
Can you say MVP? Josh Allen, are you kidding me? I'm convinced.
And look at the speed. Lamar Jackson is gone.
Muscles his way into the end zone. That's more like it.
2 really good football players. It's a shame only one of them can be good. Let's look back to the Week 4 matchup between the Ravens and the Bills. This is the first carry of the game for Derrick Henry. It was a 87-yard touchdown run. Baltimore led 7-0. He finished with 199 yards on the ground and a receiving touchdown. Skipping ahead to the 3rd quarter, Bills trailing 21-10. It's a flip, Josh Allen, but Kyle Van Noy causes a fumble. Kyle Hamilton jumps on top of it and runs it back 8 yards. Look at the dive from Kyle Van Noy to get that ball out before Josh Allen could cut loose. Oof. He'd finished 16 of 29 for 180 yards through the air. Next Ravens possession, 1st and goal at the Bills' 9. Lamar's going to keep that. He's going to take it for a 9-yard touchdown run. The Ravens were going to win 35-10. And Josh Allen on the sideline thinking, we're going to get these guys in the divisional round. And well, Josh, it's that time, as it's time for Seize the Season, presented by Caesar Sportsbook, as we look at the first touchdown score odds between the Ravens and the Bills. And Derrick Henry, who got that touchdown seconds into the Week 4 matchup, the odds-on favorite at plus 400 with Josh Allen, James Cook, and Khalil Shakir. Following him up, Lamar Jackson at plus 1,100. Let's dive right in to this huge, incredible matchup. Everybody's going to have to wait all weekend for it. 2 MVP candidates going head-to-head, Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, to see who gets a chance to go to the AFC Championship game. Who do you think does it, Greg?
I think the Bills get it done. I'm sorry to break your heart,
fine.
Patrick, but I'm wrong very often. 31-30. I believe in points in this game more than I do in my pick of who is going to win the game, because these two quarterbacks are just that good. You feel for both of these guys having to go up against each other. If Josh Allen loses, it'd be the 4th straight year they've lost in the divisional round. That's never happened in the history of the NFL, at least in this round, losing at the same time. And if Lamar Jackson struggled in this game, he's had some of his worst performances in the playoffs. I think last week is going to give both of them a lot of confidence. And I ultimately think, as good as these defenses are and how much they've improved over the course of the season, I don't think they're going to hold up. It's still an offensive league. I don't care about the weather. I think they're both going to ball out, which will help an annoying narrative for whoever loses this game. But ultimately, the Bills are at home. If it was in Baltimore, I'd probably go Baltimore, but at home, the Bills, a balanced offense that can run the ball against this Ravens front and can throw it. I give them a 1-point win, but either way, I like that over.
All right, well, I too have a 1-point win. I have 27-26 in this matchup. Do you guys know who DJ Sauce Von the Don happens to be? No? Anything?
No.
Yeah, it's Von Miller's DJ name. And
Wow.
he, to me, is the reason why I have the Bills winning this game. Why? Well, he lines up primarily on the left side of the defense, which means he gets to match up with Roger Rosengarten, the right tackle for the Ravens. Rosengarten is near the bottom of the league in terms of pressures allowed at the position. And if you're looking at what DJ Sauce Von the Don has done since returning from their bye, it's just a 24% pressure rate. And if you look at just 3rd down specifically, that number goes to 32%. So listen, he's spinning. He spins in the locker room. That's a fun fact to know. You can tell your friends. And he's actually, he's a very good DJ, and he's also very good at rushing passes.
He spins on the field, too, sometimes.
Oh, there we go, It ain't just a bull rusher. He's got the spin move both on and off the field.
Maybe Roger Rosengarten will have a great moment, and he'll tell him he's somebody like Myles Garrett did.
Or like that
a couple
record
weeks ago.
scratch.
Yeah, it's like, this is a great game. And I agree with you guys. It's going to be a close game.
Yep.
I have a 2-point game. I have Baltimore winning.
Woo!
And a lot of it's the reason the Buffalo Bills had that dominant win last week with their ability to run the football. But the Baltimore Ravens can do it differently, and we saw them do it. Looking back at that highlight with the way that Derrick Henry had that 87-yard touchdown on the first carry, I'm not reproducing that. But just look at how Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry have operated the zone read late in the season. It feels like Lamar has made the right choice almost every single time. And with that run game, if you can limit the opportunity, especially with the Ravens having one of the better run defenses in the NFL, the Bills play more nickel than anybody. 95% of the time, Buffalo is going to have 5 or 6 defensive backs on the field. Baltimore, one of the best rushing teams against nickel and dime defenses. I just believe the Ravens will be able to run the game, and I think they're going to run their way to the AFC Championship.
I swear there's got to be like a 5% error thing, because I basically don't see them not playing nickel. So I'm just curious, what are those 5? What is that 5%? Because I got to go find it.
It's like an accident. I guess
Like,
some
oops.
teams were lucky enough to get to the goal line, and they had some opportunities there. That was Seize the Season, brought to you by Caesar Sportsbook. Bet just $1 and double boost your next 10 bets up to $25. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 plus. Let's get some notable player props, according to the folks at Caesar Sportsbook. You can get Josh Allen at 1.5 passing touchdown. Lamar Jackson going around 221 and a half pass yards. James Cook about 60 rush yards. Derrick Henry 97.5, and Khalil Shakir 4.5 receptions. So let's talk more or less some player props for this matchup. Greg, will Josh Allen have more or less than 287 total yards?
Total being the key number and word there. We're going way over. This is easy. I love that Cynthia and I are both on the same side of points in this game because she was over that number as well. Josh Allen is going to be very important in the running game. Now, when he was younger, he almost would wait to the end of the season to scramble more often, especially in the playoffs. Now he's just a big part of the running game all the time, and I do think in this matchup, when he drops back, he's going to be running quite a bit. Why are you laughing?
Because 5 seasons is not like a...
I'm just saying, if you remember, though, early in his career, like once he got to this point of the season, he just started running all the time.
I'm Josh Allen, destroyer of worlds, the other world destroyer, the quarterback for the Ravens. Cynthia, will Lamar Jackson have more or less than 1.5 passing touchdowns?
I'm Lamar Jackson, also destroyer of the world. Yes, I think he will have more than 1.5 passing touchdowns. High scoring game, but also let's look at where this Bills defense is most vulnerable. In their first matchup, they actually did not stack the box very often. Big mistake, huge. Why? Because Derrick Henry ran all over them. This time, I think they stacked the box a little bit more, which leaves some more vulnerability in the pass-catching game. So I think that will benefit Rashad Bateman should Zay Flowers play, potentially Zay Flowers, and of course, the tight end, Mark Andrews.
I'll take this last one. Will Derrick Henry have over 105 scrimmage yards? We've seen more, especially since the Justice Hill injury. Justice Hill back. Derrick Henry still catching more passes. I think he gets north of that number. We just saw the 199 yards, and they do run very well against stacked boxes. And the problem is, if you stack the box in Derrick Henry and he gets to the second level, you're chasing.
He gone.
And you're trying to grab hair. He's cut his hair off since then. So the hair is not there to grab. So I think there's more, 3 mores and more or less as we look at this great end to divisional weekend here in the NFL. Coming up, the divisional round, usually the best weekend of the NFL year. We're expecting points on points. When we return, we're giving you some of our favorite props for the weekend, so stick around. Write this down. Coming up next. Set for divisional playoff weekend Saturday at noon and Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern with NFL Game Day morning on Saturday. All 6'4" and 7/8", 255 pounds of Max Crosby, which are smaller than Cynthia Freeland, join the crew in studio to see how the Texans can slow down Patrick Mahomes. Plus, Kimmy Checks sitting down with Kansas City Chiefs Pro Bowler Chris Jones. All that and more Saturday at noon.
He's the same height as Ian.
Yeah, he's right there, just between the,
I'm taller
the twin
than Max
powers
Crosby.
of NFL media, Cynthia and Ian. I love it.
That puts Rich in like the windy zone right there at the front of this graphic. It's time for Expert Playmakers, presented by Intuit TurboTax. Patrick Mahomes always seems to shine in the playoffs. Will he have over 276.5 total yards on Saturday against the Texans, Cynthia?
He will shine, but I don't think his yardage total gets that high. Why? Because I think this is where Andy Reid, coming off a bye, becomes a nice run play caller, meaning let's not have Patrick Mahomes have to do too many crazy things against this defense that brings the second highest pressure rate, that has those great corners. Let's run the football more. So I don't think it's going to be quite as many yards as that. But remember, don't fret, Marianne Freeland. I am not picking against Patrick Mahomes, who you love so much. I am picking him to win, just doesn't need to be throwing late in the game.
Well, Marianne Freeland, listen up. I am picking against Patrick Mahomes, and I'm going under on this one, too. I am curious if he's going to get rid of the ball as quickly as he did against the Texans. It was a great game plan. You would assume they'd be a little more prepared for it. Maybe he's feeling healthier and he actually holds on to the ball more, and weirdly, that doesn't help him. Who knows?
All right. So, yeah, they both say no. So confirmed, Greg and Cynthia say Patrick Mahomes is bad and will have a bad game.
And Cynthia's mom was going to call her and be mean to her.
Why do you hate Patrick Mahomes?
Why do you hate him? He's my favorite player in the league. That's what I'm going to hear.
Mom, don't worry, because it's time to give your daughter her flowers.
Oh.
Congratulations to Cynthia Freeland, the regular season picks champion, just demolishing the competition. 194-78. We have not seen numbers like that, Cynthia. Congratulations.
Thanks. I mean, I guess, I didn't realize it was that. I stopped tracking.
Oh, stop.
No, it's true.
First of all, I take exception to demolishing the competition. I had you all season, and then she passed me in week 17 and 18 because she's a closer, she's a finisher. Winners close.
Well,
Yeah. ABC, baby.
It's cumulative. It's the whole season. It's time to write this down. Cynthia, you're the champ. You've got that glorious crown. So start it off with this. What should people take note of?
It is a beautiful crown, isn't it? Okay, I'm looking at Kareem Hunt. I told you I think Andy Reid will run the football more, and I think Kareem Hunt's going to be the guy to do it. You heard him talk about in the past when he was in Miami and he was going shopping instead of being in the playoff. Like all these things that made him so sad. So, he's going to have a nice big game here, help his quarterback out from getting pressured. I think this is going to be a nice, solid game for Kareem Hunt so that he can show everyone, I deserve to be here.
A big game for Kareem Hunt. What is your prediction, Greg?
So we were showing all the over-unders in terms of rushing yards before, and James Cook was about half of Derrick Henry. Give this man some respect. James Cook to the moon, way over 55.5 rushing yards. Why is Derrick Henry double? He wasn't double during the regular season because James Cook was one of the very best running backs in the league. I think there's going to be a lot of points. Ultimately, I do think Buffalo is one of the best rushing teams. Goes over 55.
You know who scored more rushing touchdowns than Derrick Henry?
James Cook.
That's right.
He did. An all-time record for the Buffalo Bills, tying Orenthal James Simpson. My prediction involves that game between the Ravens and the Bills. Isaiah Likely will have over 37.5 receiving yards against the Buffalo Bills. We don't know the health status of Zay Flowers. Isaiah Likely out there on the field, especially when the Bills playing all the nickel that they do. If they try to stack the box, they'll have a leverage advantage. Isaiah Likely over 37.5, I feel.
And you better actually write this down because, Cynthia, you're the picks queen. That's the ultimate test. But can I just take this for a second here? Come on. I want to give it to our friend Patrick.
Okay, I was like, what are you doing to my crown?
Oh,
they're writing this down? Okay,
he had the most to write this down.
I did not know where you were going with that.
This is teamwork. We wear this crown as a unit.
That's right.
Thanks for watching Game Day View. We'll see you next week. Enjoy Divisional Weekend. Welcome to Game Day View, presented by Caesars Sportsbook. Patrick Claybon back here with Greg Rosenthal and Cynthia Freeland. We had a big merger back in 1966. You may have heard about it. We're dividing our shows into AFC and NFC. This is an NFC chat. 2 monster divisional matchups. I can't wait, Greg.
Yes, and the merger was a big change for the NFC and the NFL, and I'm wondering if this weekend is going to be a changing of the guard in the NFC. Maybe we get some crazy upsets because we have big numbers.
You better not be talking about an upset that would be very upsetting to me. Why didn't you say this in the AFC show, mister?
I'm just saying, we got some young, exciting players.
Yeah, we have some emotional, personal attachments to the NFC side. Hey, we all did decent in the picks last week. Let's take a look. Everybody going 4-2. It wasn't all in the same games, but we all arrived at the same location. So no crowns to be distributed unless we were to have 33 1/3% repeating of a crown sitting, and that would fall off our head.
Thank you,
It would be perfect, though, because we would each, we're a third, that's a third. I think it would be, it's perfect.
We love it. This is the divisional schedule for the weekend, starting off on Saturday. Texans against the Chiefs, the reigning, defending 2-time champs. The Commanders playing against the team Cynthia likes, the Detroit Lions, who are that 1 seed. The Rams going up against the Eagles, and then finishing off with the Ravens at the Bills. Cynthia's Lions have never won the game that she's not saying. Could this be the year?
Detroit! Hey, one pride, let's work. No need to speak about it. They know Detroit's back at it. 3-1-3 minus anyone in the way of that. Simple mathematics. This second time around, we gon' need a little more pride. Broadcast live from the NFC's north side. It's Detroit's time. That's Jameer Gibbs coming out of the huddle. You probably in trouble. With the same mindset as the city, like it's gotta be hustle. If it's 4 for 1, damn Mike Gamble, you know what we up to. In the O-line, like a people mover with Motor City muscle. Our receivers deserve respect, ain't no need for a heat check. Amon Ra for the route run, then J-Mo for the deep threat. And Jared Goff we trust, and we got every reason. Trying to add a Super Bowl to Detroit's best ever season.
Oh, gotta love PL Official. He said season. It's time for Seize the Season, presented by Caesars Sportsbook. The first touchdown score odds, it is all Lions. The roar has been restored. Jameer Gibbs, David Montgomery, welcome back. Plus 475 to get in the end zone. Amon-Ra St. Brown, J-Mo, and then Sam Laporta. And yeah, the other team has a pretty good football player. Jaden Daniels and the Commanders taking on the top-seeded Lions in Detroit. The Lions fresh off the bye. David Montgomery is back. How does it go, Greg?
See, now, Cynthia, I said it could be the changing of the guard, and we have this young quarterback doing things as a rookie we've never seen before. And who am I kidding? The Lions are going to roll over this Commanders defense 41-27. It's not the changing of the guard. It's the same team that made the NFC Championship game a year ago because they got the better quarterback in this game. As great as Jaden Daniels is, Jared Goff is playing the best football of his career. A lot of these throws that you see are from a very comfortable pocket, and that's what I expect to happen on Sunday. Commanders couldn't get after Baker Mayfield last week. The Buccaneers did not make them pay enough. I think it's a very similar matchup against really a great offensive line and a player in Jared Goff that, yes, he was great last year at this time, and he was good the year before, but he has improved. I've seen it. Quarterbacks can keep improving. He's only 30 years old. I saw Tom Brady play his best quarterbacking at 38, 40 years old, and I really do believe his command of this offense with the weapons around him against this Commanders defense, which is below average, is the biggest mismatch of the weekend. I don't think it's close. I think they cover the number.
Your lips to whoever's in charge's ears, whoever's making the script writer. Anyways, I have a win for the Lions to a more modest win, 31-24 in this matchup. I want to point out the tight ends because both of these teams have been exceptional on going for it on fourth down. In fact, they're the two best in the league. The best is actually the Commanders. In big part, why? Because the tight end is a great opportunity to help out the quarterback. Sam Laporta in recent weeks has been a great reason why Jared Goff and company are so good at going for it on fourth down. This season, overall on fourth down, do you know what's going on? League-wide, it's actually not going as well. It's down about 8 or 9 percentage points.
Wow.
But not for these two teams. Au contraire. Why? Because Laporta gives them another option in the pass-catching game, and they've got this great run situation and the offensive line. But then on the other side, Zach Ertz, he's able to kind of beat whatever's going on, especially with the blitz. If you look at what goes on with Jaden Daniels' passer rating when targeting Zach Ertz when teams blitz him, it's 123. That's super high. So when I'm looking at both of these teams and their kind of high-risk nature, the tight ends do make the difference.
And the problem is for Zach Ertz and the Commanders, they're playing against the Lions, who have been very, very good at stopping tight ends all season long. It's unanimous. I have the Lions winning by a more modest score than Cynthia, 32-27. We all have points here. But I think you need to be able to run the ball to keep this Lions offense off the field. And yeah, the Commanders were able to get a whole lot of opportunity, convert all those fourth downs utilizing Jaden Daniels. Do you know the last time a non-quarterback led the Commanders in rushing? It was before their bye. If you take Jaden Daniels away, they go from the best EPA per carry offense in the entire league all the way down to 7th. He's so much of the offense. He's so much of the run game. I think you just need more pieces. Yeah, this could be a sea change in years when the Commanders get more pieces around. The Detroit Lions have a complete offense. The Washington Commanders put a lot on the shoulders of their very young quarterback. Meme away, we've all got the Lions. Seize the Season brought to you by Caesars Sportsbook. Bet just $1 and double boost your next 10 bets up to $25. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older. Folks, don't miss any of the action this weekend. Stream the entire NFL's postseason with NFL Plus. Every playoff game and Super Bowl 59 live on mobile. Subscription required for NFL Plus. Visit plus.nfl.com in order to get the full terms. Time for more or less. Let's talk some player props for this game between the Commanders and the Lions. Cynthia, will Jaden Daniels have more or less than 291 total yards?
Well, the running yards count for that one, and the rushing yards bolster this projection for me. I think he has more than this total. Why? Well, if you look at this O-line, it lines up the 5th widest in the National Football League. And what happens then? It creates more lanes for Jaden Daniels to use those legs. And we know he wants to do it. He's going to do it, especially because the Lions play so much man. Perhaps the space that's created from that will give him an opportunity to help go over that number.
All right, so we got one more. Let's go to the Lions, Greg. Will Amon-Ra St. Brown have more or less than 76 receiving yards?
Ooh, I got a lot of respect for Mike Sanristil, who might be the matchup here. But Mike Sanristil isn't in the garage with Equanimous and Mr. Universe working out. Let's go, Amon-Ra, way over 76. Love this matchup. I don't think they match up well at all in the secondary against this Lions team. And just for the record, only one of us picked the Lions to cover the number.
Oh.
And that's me. So you guys are Lions haters, and I'm a true
Yes,
believer.
yes, we're
Yep,
haters.
That's me. I'm a Lions hater. We all know that.
It's hard enough to carry the offense in the receiving game, but to carry your big brother on a podcast is even more. Jahmyr Gibbs, more or less than 100 non-scrimmage yards? I think it's more because Jahmyr Gibbs has had 6.4 yards per touch this season. I know David Montgomery might be back for this game. I think they get Jahmyr Gibbs around the 17, 18 touches that he needs to hit that number, so I'm confident that Gibbs is going to get more.
The most explosive runs in the NFL are by the Lions when they're under center. By more than 20 explosive runs. You know what defense was dead last in success rate against in terms of under center runs?
The Commanders!
The Commanders, what a mismatch. 41's not enough.
41, I love it. Greg, let's go. Let's get Rory in here.
Rory, be careful. I might leave, Kyle for Rory.
Ooh, yeah, I mean,
I love Rory.
yeah,
Rory
got an
is
inside shot.
amazing.
Not just a hall pass, the entire universe.
No one cares. Everyone would be happy about it.
We're just getting started here on Game Day View. Coming up, should Matthew Stafford and the Rams have the Eagles on upset alert? It's going to be an epic NFC battle between powerhouses. Who's going to win and who's going to line up the scoreboard? We'll inform you next on Game Day View.
We'll inform you.
NFL Game Day View is brought to you by Caesars Sportsbook. New users can bet $1 to boost their next 10 bets by 100%. Must be 21 or older. See Caesars.com/promos for full terms.
The Pro Bowl games presented by Verizon are taking over Orlando, Florida. Be there live on Sunday, February 2nd for skills competitions, unforgettable player moments, and a star-studded AFC versus NFC flag football finale at Camping World Stadium. Tickets on sale now. Go to probowl.com/tickets to get yours today. Not today. Let's look way back to this Week 12 matchup between the Rams and the Eagles at SoFi. And yeah, it's a little bit of foreshadowing because the highlight starts with Saquon. Then he puts Christian Roseboom in the air backwards for 4 yards. Whee!
I mean, look, a stiff arm is a good thing to add to his repertoire, obviously.
Yeah, he just needs more tools in the toolbox
Clearly.
to dominate defenders later on. Why not have a 70-yard touchdown? The Eagles would lead 20-7. That was his 9th rushing touchdown of the season. He had 7 games with 100 rush yards in the season. Second longest run of his career right there. Next Eagles possession, lead 20-14. Hurts hits Saquon. He goes for 31 yards. He would finish with 4 catches for 47 yards. And the very next play, he would not finish the drive. Saquon's like, hey, get Kenny G in here so Kenny G can score a 13-yard touchdown. What do you know? He does just that.
Kenny G's underrated. I mean, they lose a lot when they take Saquon out, but he's a good backup.
Yeah, very, very good. Been good for a while. Next Rams possession, Matthew Stafford gets sacked. It's Milton Williams. Stafford had a decent game, though. He finished 24-36, 243 yards. He was sacked 5 times, though. Fourth quarter, Eagles lead 30-14. Saquon on 3rd and 6. Good night, everybody.
It's amazing how effortless he makes running that fast look. The other guys are also fast, but he makes them look so slow.
And he was still able to do the between the legs on the touchdown celebration. Most rushing yards in a game in franchise history. He had 255. And that brings us to home field advantage presented by Zillow. The Rams and Eagles squaring off again Sunday afternoon. Philly 6-point favorites at home. LA got beat up the Vikings last week. They beat up the Vikings last week in Glendale. Should the Eagles, after that, be on upset alert, Greg?
Well, you should always be on upset alert against Matthew Stafford, but I do have the Eagles winning this game and covering the number in the end because I think they wear down that Rams defense. It's a mismatch physically in the running game because of the size. This is just one of the biggest offensive lines that you'll ever see. Their guards are massive, and then you think about who they're going up against. You think Braden Fisk, great season for him. Not a great run defender. Can get pushed around a little bit in the running game. Neville Gallimore has been on the field a lot for them. Not a great run defender. Their linebackers, Omar Spates, Christian Roseboom, who you saw get face planted by Saquon Barkley. I just think physically, even at the secondary level, at the cornerback position, not great tacklers. So I think matchup-wise, it could be close for a while, but the run game for the Eagles, ultimately too much.
I have a 7-point win for the Eagles, 27-20. And I want to talk about the fact you named all of those awesome Rams defensive front players. And I want to note that last week they got after Sam Darnold quite a bit. But the problem is, for them this week, it this O-line. The Philadelphia Eagles offensive line is not going to let that happen. Either is the scheme or game plan. Between being able to hand the ball off to Saquon Barkley, being able to leverage short, deep, outside the numbers passes, a lot of different things from Jalen Hurts. You're going to have to respect the run, the pass, the scramble, all of those things on every single down, which means as good as that front is, it puts a lot more pressure on the back of the defense where they aren't as strong. So I'm looking at this O-line and I'm saying huge advantage, and especially in playoff games, if you're just like a passerby who happens to know a little something about O-lines, and you want to pick who's going to win a game, and even if you think it's close, just always pick the team with the better O-line in the playoffs. It works out more often than not.
I agree with that advantage, and one thing that kind of got Philly fans annoyed was how conservative the game plan was last week. I think it'll be a conservative plan this week as well because they have that advantage. I've got the Eagles 25-20, and they can afford to be conservative on offense, but there is a point. I have a point of contention that I am putting this Eagles defense on watch because they allowed the fewest yards per attempt when playing zone this season. But when you look at man, it's the third fewest. They're good everywhere, guys. It's so tough to find a spot to challenge this defense, and you just need to isolate a weakness. But where is it? Great on the edge. Darius Slay made one of the best interceptions that we've seen all season down the sideline on Dontavian Wicks. Carter got doubled more in that game against the Rams than he has in any other game this season. They still had that success late. It's just tough to find a spot. Meme away, Rams fans. We have all taken the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's check out some player props for this matchup. Those we see Matthew Stafford around 226.5 passing yards. Jalen Hurts, a significantly lower number. Eagles not passing that much, 202.5. Saquon at 110.5 on the ground. Kyron at just 74.5. And Puka Nacua at 7.5 receptions, bringing us to more or less. Cynthia, who's going to throw for 2 or more touchdowns? Matthew Stafford or Jalen Hurts?
Well, I actually have Matthew Stafford throwing for more. Why? Well, game script is part of it, and Saquon Barkley is the other reason for that. And also the tush push, let's be honest. When I'm looking at Matthew Stafford and playoff opportunities, he's going to have to be throwing per how we've all projected this game, and that is actually where he's best, right? So when you're looking at the opportunity here for Puka Nacua to find some space, is it going to be easy? Is it going to be possible? Absolutely, and that's why I think passing touchdowns, if you're asking me who's going to count for 2 or more touchdowns just in general, the answer would be Jalen Hurts. But passing touchdowns, the answer is Matthew Stafford.
An important caveat there. Let's go to receiving. Greg, who's more likely to have 80 receiving yards, A.J. Brown or Puka Nacua?
I went back and forth. I think they're 2 of the best 4 wide receivers in the entire NFL. Last week, they actually did combine for 80 yards in the playoff game. But I'm going Puka Nacua because he has such a high target share and yards per route run this season. One of the most efficient seasons in wide receiver history, and ultimately, my game script is that they're going to be trailing, and I actually think it's a problem for them that they're so Puka dependent. Really, he's the source of all their big plays and almost all their receptions in a lot of weeks. Cooper Kupp's production has really gone down, but for a choice like this, I think it could be a Goddard game or it could be a Devontae Smith. You never know, and yet it's always a Puka Nacua game, so I am going Puka Nacua.
Fun fact about A.J. Brown, other than the fact that he obviously reads on the sidelines and watched, Inner Excellence is going to be a great book that we'll all be reading this offseason.
Oh, for sure.
But when you're looking at the opportunity to throw outside the numbers, A.J. Brown is the guy who does it the most often. That was part of the game plan last time around. So it's possible A.J. Brown could earn 80 yards just before the game script gets out of control on those outside throws. But again, I'm with you that it's more likely to be Puka based on game script.
Yeah, it's so much to figure out in this game. I figured out I'm going to write a book as well. Shout out to Inner Excellence.
What about outer excellence?
Well, I have subterranean
how you treat
winning,
other people.
Subterranean winning.
Yeah, subterranean winning is going to be in bookstores this fall. You heard it here first. Over 4.5 receptions, Cooper Kupp or Devontae Smith. I'm actually going to take Devontae Smith in this one. There was that big play from Matthew Stafford to Cooper Kupp last week in the win against the Vikings, which was kind of a dagger. But the Philadelphia Eagles, in their wild card game, had 28 passing yards before Jalen Hurts hooked up with Devontae Smith twice on the drive that Dallas Goedert finally finished things up with a touchdown here. I think getting 5 catches, easy money for the Slim Reaper in this one.
Fun fact, he actually has the second most yards off of hitch routes since 2021, second to only Stephon Diggs.
And I give a ton of credit to Akella Witherspoon and Darius Williams, who have stepped in as these veterans for the Rams, and yet I kind of think the Eagles had a little bit of a warm-up game last week. They got into the playoffs. Jalen Hurts hadn't played for a while. I think the passing game will be better this week than it was.
Darius Williams got a little. A.J. Brown kind of,
time around,
had a lot of yards against.
We'll see if the Rams can force the Eagles to put their foot on the gas, get that passing game going, or they just use their advantages and run all over them like they did across the street earlier this season. Coming up on Game Day View, some of our favorite player props for the divisional round of the playoffs. Greg's got 3 straight weeks.
Let's go!
On Write This Down. He's dealing right now. Grab your popcorn. This weekend's going to be epic. Get set for divisional playoff weekend Saturday at noon and Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern with NFL Game Day Morning. On Saturday, Max Crosby joins us in studio to break down how the Texans can slow down Patrick Mahomes. Plus, Kimmy Check sits down with Kansas City Chiefs Pro Bowler Chris Jones. All that and more Saturday at noon.
You know what's funny? I just realized what time the show was on. I didn't even know.
Okay, you need to stand tough, though, like Max Crosby. You and Ian look a little soft when he's posing like that.
Well, it's intimidating.
When you're that much taller than him, do you really have to?
So
I don't know.
6'6" in that photo. Time for Expert Playmakers, presented by Intuit TurboTax. Terry McLaurin is Jaden Daniels' favorite target. Cynthia, will he have more than 67 receiving yards against your Lions Saturday?
He will. Why? Because this is a defense that is still injured. They're not fixed yet. And you know who knows that? Cliff Kingsbury. You know who else knows that? Jaden Daniels. And Terry McLaurin himself also knows it. They will find ways to match him up against the missing Carlton Davis, against the missing pieces of any part of the defense. So I think this is a bad matchup if you're a Lions fan, a good matchup if you're a Terry McLaurin fan, which I'm actually both.
They did have good news with Terrion Arnold returning. He will play. And he could be the only reason why Terry wouldn't hit this number, just because he has pass interferences and grabs Terry to the ground.
I was about to say, does that mean he'll score a touchdown then, and the yardage might not be? Anyway.
I'm with you, though. I like Terry. Despite me saying the Lions are going to win easy, I actually think the Commanders' offense could have a really good day. I just think 28 points might not be good to be even that close.
Yeah, a really good day, because Commanders-Lions has the highest over-under of the week at 55.5. Here's a look at all the divisional round projected point totals. It leading the way of the Ravens, Bills, Rams, Eagles, and then Texans, Chiefs pulling up the rear there at 41.5 points. Time to write this down. Let's get to some predictions in the NFC. Kick us off, Greg.
I will start with my guy, Jared Goff. He's my guy now. Why not? He's America's
your guy.
He's good enough for Greg.
He is America's guy.
It was a typo when I saw the passing numbers for this game are 271.5. Easy money, because I think the Lions are going to pass to set up the run. They have a lot of advantages in the running game. Washington knows that. I think early on they're going to be very aggressive. They use all 4 downs. Marshawn Lattimore has not panned out so far for the Commanders, so I think he could get about 200 in the first half and then cruise to this.
Okay, well, again, I hope so. I'm having David Montgomery score a touchdown in his return against the Commanders. You talked about those under center runs when the quarterback's under center. Well, both running backs, him and Jahmyr Gibbs, both have 8. And you know what? They're the duo with the most since last season when they combined for 22, which they probably would have had David Montgomery been healthy the whole season, but whatever. He's going to score a touchdown in this one. Again, dear script makers, please listen to me. Thank you very much. XOXO, Cynthia.
Somebody's taking notes. So not only are there script makers, but they're deities that you can pray to. I've got Devontae Smith going over 54.5 receiving yards against the Rams. He's only played in 5 games this year where he didn't hit that number. I already told you. I think he's going to have more than 5 catches. I think a couple of them are going to be longer than the 10-plus yards. And he's going to get 54.5 receiving yards in a great divisional weekend. I can't wait, guys.
I love these matchups and their big numbers, and that just means we're going to have one massive upset. It's just hard to predict which one it's going to be. I say Texans.
Cynthia does not want it to be the Lions, but we do want to see you guys next week. Enjoy Divisional Weekend. Thanks for watching.
Bring on a playoff party. Exit on 4th down.
the Bills have blown it open. 68,000 strong.
On his feet, spinning at the 15.
Going deep. Intercepted!
It's playoff football, baby.
Mike Evans, fire the cannon!
We'll see you in Detroit!